Indiana Fever may have just made the biggest mistake in WNBA history, one that could cost them millions. What's happening behind the scenes is far more explosive, and no one's talking about it. Picture this. Your franchise finally lands a generational rookie. She sells out arenas that were empty for years, breaks ratings records overnight, and suddenly your team matters again. So what's the response? You bench her again and again, and somehow no one's asking why. Let's start with the money, because this part will blow your mind. Caitlin Clark is set to rake in $11 million this year, yet less than 1% of that comes from her WNBA salary of just $78,000. She makes more from a single Instagram post than she does in an entire month of carrying the Fever. Nike dropped $28 million 8 years to sign her. Gatorade's all in. State Farm treats her like royalty. Wilson even gave her a signature basketball line. Every brand you can name is lined up with open wallets, while the Fever can't even keep her healthy for more than 3 games straight. And speaking of health, isn't it strange? Caitlin never missed a game in college. 4 straight years at Iowa, she played through pain and dominated every night. Yet suddenly in the pros, she's sidelined repeatedly with groin injuries that seem sudden and unexplained. Whether it's bad luck or something bigger behind the scenes, the impact is clear. When she came back, she shot just 4 for 12, part of a 6-game stretch where she hit under 30% overall and only 14% from 3. But here's the part no one's mentioning. Even during that slump, she's still averaging over 9 assists a game. She's literally dragging this team forward with one arm tied behind her back. And the reward? More bench time. And as if the on-court drama wasn't enough, things off the court turns even darker. A 55-year-old stalker was just sentenced to prison for harassing Caitlin, sending hundreds of disturbing messages, even traveling to Indianapolis under the delusion that they were in a relationship. It got so bad, she had to change her public appearances just to feel safe. And yet, here's the crazy part. Even he seemed to understand her value better than the Fever's own management. When Caitlin's on the floor, ticket prices skyrocket $200 on the secondary market. When she's out, they plummet by 40% overnight. That's not a dip. That's a financial freefall. Even the All-Star Game, hosted in her own arena, saw ticket prices crash from $121 to $72 the moment she announced she couldn't play. Real money is walking out the door, and Indiana's front office is acting like they can't see it. And just when you think it can't get worse, it does. Enter Stephanie White, the coach brought in to fix everything. But instead of unleashing Caitlin's game, she seems more focused on humbling her. Last week's viral moment said it all. Caitlin sat in the coach's chair during a timeout, and White ordered her out in front of everyone. The message couldn't be clearer. Know your place, rookie. Don't get too comfortable. We run this team, not you. White keeps preaching about the big picture and long-term health. Translation, we're terrified of how big you've become. Seriously, why else would you manage the minutes of a 23-year-old in peak shape? Why would you pull her from games the moment she gets hot? Why force her to change the exact style of play that packs arenas and sells jerseys? It feels like a constant reminder. You might be the star, but they hold the power. But here's the kicker. While Indiana plays petty power games, Caitlin's quietly building something much bigger, an empire that doesn't even need them. She's not just popular, she's the face of women's basketball. Over 1.2 million votes made her all-star captain more than anyone else in the league. Her endorsements dwarf entire team payrolls. If she wanted to, she could buy and sell half the WNBA tomorrow. And yet, the Fever act like letting her ride the bench is some kind of favor. I've got insider info, and this is where it gets wild. Multiple teams are already clearing cap space for 2027 when Caitlin becomes a free agent. The New York Liberty, ready to throw her a max contract plus every marketing deal Manhattan can cook up. Las Vegas Aces, they'd roll out the red carpet and probably rename a casino after her. International squads, they're circling 7-figure deals in Europe. insane offers from China that could even include team ownership. And let's not forget, Ice Cube already tried to poach her with a $5 million Big Three offer. She's got more options than a Vegas buffet, and the Fever are over here acting like she should be grateful for table scraps. The running joke around the league, Indiana went from flying budget airlines where you have to pay for water to private jets overnight, all because of one player. And instead of protecting her, they're playing power games that make reality TV look tame. It's like winning the lottery and complaining about the taxes. You want to know how bad it's gotten? Players who go 2 for 14 are getting praised for keeping their confidence, while Caitlyn gets lectured for taking 1 contested 3. Veterans who couldn't hit the ocean from the beach have a permanent green light, but the best shooter in franchise history told to sit down and be patient? The double standard is so obvious, even referees are shaking their heads. And here's the stat that should make every fan furious. WNBA players get just 9% of league revenue. Compare that to NBA players who get 50%. Now, Caitlyn shows up, drives merchandise sales up 500%, boosts attendance 40%. And what's the response? They're doing everything possible to push her away. And the funniest part? Fever management actually thinks they have leverage here. They think Caitlyn needs them more than they need her. And if they think she needs them more than they need her, they couldn't be more wrong. Caitlyn Clark is just 23 years old and already sitting on a net worth close to $5 million. She's got endorsements that'll secure her future long after she hangs up her jersey. And a fan base so loyal, they'd follow her to Antarctica if she started a Penguin basketball league. And here's the stat that should send chills through every executive in Indianapolis. When fans were asked if they'd still support the Fever if Caitlyn left, 86% said no. That's not just loyalty, that's obsession. That's not a fan base, that's a traveling army. These people didn't buy Fever jerseys for the name on the front. They bought them for the name on the back. And if you think I'm exaggerating about the pressure she faces, look at what happened in Connecticut during the playoffs. Jonah Carrington accidentally hit Caitlyn in the eye, or so they claimed. When reporters asked about it, Carrington got defensive and the Suns organization tried to intimidate the media into dropping it. That's the level of jealousy Caitlyn deals with every night. And the worst part, her own team won't even stand up for her. The numbers don't lie. With Caitlyn's on the court, games pull over 1 million viewers. Without her, they struggle to reach 200,000. ESPN practically built their entire WNBA coverage around her, and social media engagement drops 70% the moment she's off the court. She's not just a player, she is the league's marketing department. Without her, the buzz dies instantly. And now things are getting scary for the Fever. People close to Caitlyn are whispering that she's already questioning her future in Indianapolis. The constant injuries, bizarre coaching decisions, the lack of support from management, it's all piling up. She went from Iron Woman in college, never missing a game, to suddenly being the league's most fragile superstar. And everyone's starting to wonder what's really going on here. The crazy part, the Fever could fix this tomorrow. Fire anyone who doesn't understand what they've got. Bring in coaches who let Caitlyn be Caitlyn. Build the whole team around her instead of forcing her into some outdated system that doesn't work. Hand her the keys to the franchise and watch the money roll in. But they won't, because in Indiana, ego matters more than economics. The numbers tell the story. Cities that land generational talents either build dynasties or they become cautionary tales. And right now, the Fever are speeding toward that second path. They're about to become the team that had Caitlyn Clark and lost her, the franchise that fumbled the biggest star in women's basketball history. I'm hearing whispers, and remember, you heard it here first. Caitlyn's camp is already exploring options. Not tomorrow, not next season, but they're laying groundwork, building relationships in other markets, testing international waters, making sure that when the time comes, she's got a landing spot that actually appreciates her. The irony, it's almost poetic. The Indiana Fever spent years begging for relevance, playing in front of empty seats, desperate for attention. Then out of nowhere, Caitlyn falls into their lap. a gift from the basketball gods, a once-in-a-generational star who could have changed everything. Mark my words, within 2 years, Caitlin Clark won't be wearing a Fever jersey. She'll be in New York or Vegas, maybe even overseas, making triple what Indiana could ever dream of offering and playing for people who actually want her to succeed. When that happens, the Fever will go right back to irrelevance, back to half-empty arenas, back to being a footnote in basketball history. And here's the saddest part. This entire disaster was preventable. All they had to do was not screw it up. Just let Caitlin be great, cash the checks, build the franchise around her. Instead, they've written a masterclass on how to destroy a golden opportunity. This is the kind of meltdown that business schools will study for decades. The